Now, what I'm speaking about is character development. Most of us, there are only two kinds of written materials when you talk about fiction. They are plot-driven and character-driven. Plot-driven, remember that TV show Combat? Everybody doing about?
Never.
Yeah, good show. Every week, Vic Morrow and these other guys was like a squad of soldiers, and they were part of the U.S. Army in Europe fighting their way across Germany. And so right away, what's the story gonna be about? War, fighting, you know? And there are variations on that. One week in a French village, the next week some German informer comes across. But that's plot driven. There's a war going on, and that's what we're doing every day. Character driven is when Moby Dick is a classic character driven book. I'm gonna get that whale, I'm gonna get that whale. And wanting to get that whale, he winds up losing his own ship. That's character driven. We're gonna deal with characters and character driven plots because those are most popular. Say again? Yeah, the most popular, they're easier to read and understand. You know, you think about it in literature class, what is the meaning, what is the essence? That's sort of hard to do if you don't have a guy in front of you that you can say, this is what the essence is. Okay, characters. You start out with your main character. Your main character has to be dynamic. And when I say dynamic, the main character has to grow. That's why saying he was a kind husband and a loving father, or she was real pretty, doesn't really cut it. You know, we need to see that evolution. And if for the kind husband, every day he would show up for Little League practice, what does that say about what kind of father she was? Or every time she walked down the street, men would turn their heads. What does that say about what kind of, you see? And so what you do is you put the character in a situation where the character's characteristics come out. Ready? You all follow this?
Yes.
Okay. So you look at your writing as a frame in which your character is displayed. Now, the character, I said display, but that involves passivity. When your character is passive, your story dies. So your character has to be active. Your character is usually facing two things. Determinism and naturalism. I'll explain those really briefly. Determinism is saying, I'm going home tonight. When this class is over, I'm going home. I'm going to get some beer and some Thursday night football. And I can control that world to a degree. I can get in my car, I can come home, go home, and take care of that. Now, if I said, I'm going to solve world peace, suddenly I've got factors that I can't control that I've got to deal with. The Arabs are going crazy, this is happening, that's happening. In other words, naturalism are forces beyond the control of the character that the character has to interact with. Determinism is the character's ego, his drive. I am going to X or Y.